All right, so this is the last project. I'm gonna go ahead and delete that. And I'm going to do exercise 4F. Now it says to turn off your snap and ortho and draw 2 circles. And so I'm just gonna go ahead and draw 2 circles. The letter C, I'm gonna start right here in the middle. And I am going to change this to object line. So I'm going to select this and change this to object line, because that's what the directions say. And then I am going to change my layer that I'm operating on to the object line layer. And then I'm just going to make another circle. And I move my cursor over to here because AutoCAD tends to not register the snaps exactly where you want them to be. But if you notice, this plus symbol came in right in the middle. That's exactly where I want it to go. And then I'm just going to eyeball this and go from there. All right. Now it wants you to use your quadrant object snap. So to double check to see if my quadrant object snap is on, I'm going to click right here and make sure this is checked off. It is. And I'm going to go ahead and draw a line from here to here and here. I'm also going to draw a line here and a line here. Now these I'm going to change to, it says to use this, well, I can use a center line or something else. Center line's fine. So I'm going to change that to center line. And these I'm just going to leave alone. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my object snap and make sure that tangent is checked off. Now, fair warning, sometimes things conflict and you might have to turn off certain things. So I'm going to shut this intersection off and this perpendicular off. I just know that from experience that those two and tangent can kind of conflict. And so I'm going to turn tangent back on. I'm still on the object line. And now I'm going to create a line from here to this tangent line. And I'm going to do it again here to this tangent point. And now all I'm going to do is I'm going to select all this using my green selection tool and mirror from this center point. And exercise 4F is complete. So for this assignment is 4A on page 4-15. And if you look at the drawing, you'll see a noticeable triangle in where the apexes of all the angles on the triangle meet up at the center point of circles. I would not start with the circles. I would start with the triangle here. And so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use the object line layer. And I'm just going to start creating a triangle. And I just made this an arbitrary angle off a guesstimation. And I'm just going to use the mirror command to mirror it. And I am going to make a, no, I do not want to. All right. Then I'm just going to make a line here. And so I'm going to base the rest of this drawing off of this triangle first. And right now I need to make circles. And according to the assignment, I need 3 circles per intersecting point right here. So I'm just going to make again, this is a guesstimation. And I just push the letter C, and I am kind of eyeballing it. Spacebar, because that is just utilizing the same command. And I think this might be a little too big for this. Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this and start over. That looks fine. All right, and then I'm just going to use a copy command. So I'm going to select all this, hit the letter CO, spacebar. I'm going to copy from this base point, left click, drop it right here, left click, escape, done. And now I'm going to use my tangent. I'm going to double check. Oops. I'm going to make sure my OSNAP is still on tangent, and I'm going to draw tangent lines to each of these circles. So, and you can see the quadrant is starting to conflict. Does everybody notice that? All right, so I'm going to shut the quadrant off. And now let's see what happens. So, midpoint is starting to conflict. And if it doesn't quite start, you can click on nearest and just start somewhere. So I'm just going to start here, and then it goes to tangent. I'm going to do the same here, tangent. And this one you could probably use quadrant. And I'm using the spacebar to jump in and out of this command. And there you have it. Now, this doesn't look exactly like the text, but it's pretty similar. You know, you have this little triangle right here in the center. Again, this is to get you used to the commands and not necessarily precision. We'll get into precision, you know, a little later. Okay, so this is lesson 5B on page 510. We're dealing with polygons, and so we'll get into the polygon command, POL, and spacebar, and the number of sides. And this is a hexagon, so 6 is fine. I can specify the center, and I'm just going to eyeball it. I can go ahead and do a circumscribe. Oh, I'm sorry, inscribe. And I'm just going to go as big as I can. And now I can just go ahead and offset this. Offset. And I'm going to specify a distance. I'm going to go with 1/2 inch or 0.5 and just keep going. And that's pretty much it. You can add a point style if you want, but this is the quickest way to do it. You know, most likely you'll get dimensions between each of these lines, All right, so this is exercise 5F on page 514, and you're using polygon, ellipse, and the donut. And so I'm going to go ahead and use the polygon tool, POL, space. They have a hexagon, so 6 sides. And now I'm just going to make an arbitrary, I'm going to use inscribe and just make an arbitrary size to where the point is going straight up. And I want to make sure I leave enough room so I can have the donuts and not be so close to the edge. So I'm good with this. And right now I want to make a node, a point, and I'm going to double check and see. I can click on geometric center and see if it works. So I'm going to go PO for point, space, and there we go. Just drop that point there, and you can barely see it. I can highlight it, and you can see that there is a grip. That's there. I'm going to use this as the basis to create my ellipses. So ellipse, EL, oops, space, and it's using 3-point center. 1 second. Actually, there's an I just thought of an easier way. I can go from midpoint to this midpoint and create my ellipse. And I could do the same here, midpoint, midpoint, create my ellipse. You know, I'm just going to do 0.5. Let me erase this one. And that way they're all the same size. So EL, midpoint to midpoint, and I'm doing the 3-point ellipse, space bar. So I'm selecting the long axis, and now I'm selecting the, I selected the major axis, now I'm selecting the minor axis. And there you go. Now I could have made these a little wider, but right now it's just, you're getting used to learning how to create ellipses. And now the donut. So donut, I need to specify the inside diameter, and I'm just going to go with 0.5 inches. And the outside, I am going to go with 1 inch. And I'm just going to drop it there, 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 and there. And you can start seeing these groovy trails. Don't worry about that. They go away. But there you have it. That's that assignment in a nutshell. So you have your node or your point that we've created. That's one command that's can be useful, especially dealing with polygons. And your ellipses, your polygons, and your donuts. And that's assignment 5F.